All right, Wale, thank you so much for joining Transcend, the podcast. I appreciate you being here. I'm so excited to talk about your products, Hustle Clean. Can you tell us how it got started? Like, what is the origin story of Hustle Clean?
Yeah, so it originally started as a product called ShowerPill, a company called ShowerPill. And what a ShowerPill was, it was a joke in a football locker room. It meant that, a shower was optimal, but it either was impossible or convenient. So you would take a shower pill, this hypothetical shower. So the funny part was the joke, but what wasn't a laughing matter was that people were catching staph infections.
Ooh.
Germs were being communicated from one player to another. I mean, I caught meningitis during college. So we looked around and we said, they have some for everything. They had the Gatorade for hydration.
Mm-hmm.
They had muscle milk for supplementation. They had Nike and Under Armour for performance, but there was nothing for hygiene. There was nothing to supplement and promote good hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
nothing cool at least. So.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, hey, when we create something, and what we created was the ShowerPill body wipe, which is an antibacterial towelette that kills 99.9% of germs on the body without drying the skin out. And it was kind of like our gift to the culture, to the athletic culture, right? Like that was our, that was our Nike Air Jordan to the culture.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So they talk about meeting a need, right? And I would say that ShowerPill definitely met a need. So, but how did you even get started? Okay, so we know that stuff's being transmitted, like we got to do something better. Running between, shout out to the Cal Bears football team, by the way, because that's where this started, right?
Yeah.
So how do you even, where do you start with creating this thing? You know that this is what you need, but were you a biology major? Who was doing the testing, and how did you get to the product?
First, I was an Afro major at Cal.
Hey.
Farrell Hall. Well, I mean, so the creation of the product, or how did I know how to create the product? So, to make a long story short, when the idea or the need state, it was developed and identified in college. Right after I graduated from college, I joined the Oakland Fire Department. And, I saw that, not only did I graduate from Cal, but, the problem graduated with me, and my business partners, right? Like we all still had these times where the shower was optimal, but it wasn't possible or convenient. We still had these ShowerPill moments. So I went on like Trey Marquez. I looked to see if the name was available. It was available. So I was like, it's an omen from God. And I went ahead and bought the trademark, trademarked the name, and then bought all the domain stuff. At that time, me and a couple of my partners, we had like these mastermind groups because we all wanted to do business and we all wanted to learn. So we were reading different books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, just different kind of things and kicking business ideas. So I came to the meeting with this idea. And out of all the people who were in the group, 2 other people, my dear friends, were just like, yeah, I think we got some right there. And that's how we started it. So no, I wasn't a biology major, but being a firefighter, I knew like basic CDC stuff. We had to adhere to certain, hygiene standards. And I was an EMT, so I understood like some of the basic products that we used, and with a little bit of research, starting with turning the packaging around, looking at the ingredients, to reverse engineer like just some of the basic ingredients that would do what we needed a ShowerPill body wipe to do. And then my good friend Google led me to different manufacturers. And every time I talked to a manufacturer, I would get smarter, right? Because they were talking in these terms. Now, like, I don't know what they're talking about. So I would just take I would take that L to another manufacturer and start kind of mimicking what the other one said. And after a while, I just started to like develop the basic language or comprehension of like product development. And then I went from there. I don't want to bore you, but I went from there, and we created the first iteration of the product.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really important, right? Because a lot of people have ideas about something like this or something similar that turns into a product, but they don't know how to actually get it there. And they stop because they go, well, I don't know how to create a wipe. I don't know how to create a blanket. I don't know how to create whatever that product is, and stop. So I appreciate you just saying that you had an idea. You started by turning over the packages to see what the ingredients were that were being used. You use some of your knowledge from your career, to put in there, but it's still, you knew what the ingredients needed to be, but you still didn't know how to make it. So then you started calling manufacturers and learned from each call. Did you expect to get it right on the first try, or did you know that you were going to have to call a few people and learn as you went?
I knew for a fact I was going to have to call people and learn as I went. And I'll kind of give this a shout out to Cal on this one, my UC Berkeley education, because Cal gives you Cal gave me like this educational I would say Cal gave me confidence, like educational confidence, like to where I really truly believed in my heart that I could really solve any problem and figure anything out with research, right? Like so for me, it wasn't necessarily a matter of if I was going to be able to create this product. It was a matter of like when, right? Like how long it's going to take. Because if there's an answer out there, I'm going to get it. Right. So, and I would tell anybody who wants to start a creative product, take something from concept to creation, you have to be willing to research. You have to be willing to look at ingredients and ask why. Why do you use this as opposed to this? Why do you use that as opposed to that? It's just having that confidence that it's not a matter of if you're going to create a product, it's a matter of when. And if you're really truly committed to the research and development, R&D, the research portion of that, you will figure it out. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. So how long did it take you, like after you started calling manufacturers, to actually get your first mock-up to see what this shower pill was going to look like?
It took me about 6 months from the day I was like, yo, who's with me? Let's do this. And to having the first iteration in our hand, because we had to do like various testing and and then you have to build in you have to build in the failures, so it's it took a little time. I messed up on this, messed up on that. This fragrance goes against this, like you didn't get this testing, about 6 months. So not that long, but it was about 6 months.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably felt like it was a little while in the process. We see so many, quote unquote, overnight successes, and there is no such thing as an overnight success. Nah. You may have found out about them last night, but they've been working on something, training for something, for the past 5, 6, 10 years. At least that's what I tell people, and that's what I truly believe. So when you brought this idea to the mastermind and your friends came aboard, did you already have a business entity? You got your trademark. Did you get a business entity next, or when did that come along?
Nah. My boy Justin Forsett, he was playing in the NFL at the time. I was a professional firefighter. We had a third partner, Wendell Hunter. He was, I think, working in a hospital or something, or ER tech or something like that. And we came together and was like, yo, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to formalize it. So we started to research the appropriate entity that we wanted to go with, and we wanted protection, but we also wanted it to not be too cumbersome as it pertains to like taxation, So we felt like the LLC was the most appropriate way for us to go. So we started an LLC.
And I'm assuming you talked to the experts, the CPA and the attorneys, to help you make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna cap. The legal expert was LegalZoom.
Okay. No, that's not what we're trying to tell people.
As you get more sophisticated, you do better as you know better. But at that time, it was, formalization was better than a handshake. And that was for sure. And we did the best that we could do with the knowledge that we had at the time. Yeah. And I would say, like, sometimes you have to just start. So that was our just start moment.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. So how did you work out, who was going to play what role and what was going to happen? Because I hear stories all the time, as a business attorney, of people saying, well, we were supposed to do this, we agreed to do that, and this person's not pulling their weight. My friend the other day was like, this person keeps talking about his feelings. I don't care about his feelings. We're trying to open this business. Right. So how did you deal with the very real people aspect and the skill set, bringing your business partners together? Because that's important. That it's like a marriage.
I'm still dealing with it, right? If anyone tells you that that they figured that part out, they're lying. We can even keep the temptations together, right? And it was,
okay,
new edition,
right.
So in all seriousness, we started with 3 founders. We only have 2 now, right? And nothing negative. Is just people. The circle gets smaller. Everybody can't go, right. And I think that we fumbled with it early on because everybody, kind of wanted to play the same positions because we kind of default to what we know. You do when you're with your friends, you kind of share. You're with your friends because you have commonalities.
Right.
And in business, I don't need commonalities. I need,
right.
You need people to contrast you and be strong where you're weak and vice versa. So we stumbled through it for the first couple of years, but then we wised up. We invested in team coaching, like Lencioni, Pat Lencioni. We utilize the Enneagrams to see how each other's personality types are and how we work with each other. And then we all had to just have a dose of humility. But for this business, what position should we all play? Who is strongest in this? Who is strongest in that? And then having really sobering conversations based off of KPIs and performances to really evaluate whether or not, we are who we think we are. So that's how we did it. We fumbled through it. We found a solution, which was some coaching, some team coaching. We lost a teammate or 2. And then we reinvested in, in continually making this like a practice, right? How do we optimize our working relationships? Because that's the most important part of the business. Is me and my co-founder Justin's relationship. That's the most important part of this business.
Yeah. That deserves so much emphasis, right? Because it's not just the product. The product doesn't go, it doesn't move, the business doesn't move forward if you all are not on the same page, or at least learning how to work through the conflicts that are there. Because it is, even though it is national, it's in Target stores, I can order it on Amazon, right? It is still a business that is a reflection of the 2 of you and the relationship that the 2 of you have. So that makes my social emotional heart flutter. We talk about the Enneagram and just taking a look and seeing what the strengths and weaknesses are, because it is so important. It's like any other personal relationship that you have in your life. We don't think about it that much in business, but you're choosing a partner that you plan to work with for the rest of your business life together, right? So,
and you made a joke earlier. You're saying you were talking to somebody and they were like, "Yo, I don't want to hear about my partner's feelings." And, what's crazy is that, I would even suggest that, that you desire that your partner is able to self-actualize within your business. So, you want to self-actualize, you want to be the best you could be, but you also should look at your partner and say, what can I do to make sure that my partner self-actualizes? Because, I don't just want my partner to work. I want them to whistle while they work, right? So I would always say the first person out of all our employees and stuff that I think about my partner first. Okay, what's going, what is he going through? Where is he at right now? What, is that task is that killing him inside, or is that what? I think that it is important, about the emotions. It is important because I'm telling you, if you're infighting, you're not making decisions. And my job, I'm a professional decision maker. So So if I can't make decisions because I have infighting, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. So how do we get from ShowerPill to Hustle Clean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So ShowerPill, we put it on the market. I think we started with Amazon. It took off way faster than we thought it would. And we were victims of our own success in a way. We kind of reached the cap, and we wanted to go into mass retail. We wanted to have a brand extension, create some new products. But when doing the research and having our groups, we have like these little groups where we throw ideas at. It kept coming back that these little focus groups. It kept coming back that people were identifying ShowerPill as synonymous with body wipe. It was like, no, the ShowerPill it's a shower pill, but the product is the body wipe. Like they were calling the ShowerPill the body wipe. So we felt like in order to grow, in order to speak more authentically to this group of individuals who we were hyper focusing on, these individuals who we said were always at the intersection of activity and hygiene, like always on the go, hustle and hygiene. Let's give the brand an upgrade, and we came up with Hustle Clean.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit more about being the victim of your own success. What did you mean by that? Like you grew too fast and weren't ready for the growth, or how did that play out?
I would say more so than growing so fast, we achieved product market fit specifically though, right? Like we turned to a niche product for a niche demographic, and they loved us how we were, and they didn't want to see us grow any further. Just be that brand. I don't want to see you guys do this. I don't want to see you guys do that. This is a shower pill in my mind. And it was like, nah, but we also have this. So that's what I mean. Like the product market fit was just so specific.
Got it. Okay. Was there ever a time when you felt like, this is taking too long, or maybe this isn't a good idea? Like, what were some of the struggles that you had to push through to keep going?
I mean, the biggest thing was resources and finance, right? So like, when you get into this, into this business world, you realize that nothing is fair. One, and then like it is not a meritocracy, right? It's really relationships, and it's privilege. And you have to be privileged enough to have a business. Like I'm not gonna lie and say that my occupation didn't assist me in having money to put down and start a business. That my partners with occupations didn't allow them opportunity for us all to put our money together. Right? We were privileged in a sense. And so with business, there's levels to this privilege, right? Like a lot of the companies who we compete with, a lot of them have unlimited amount of resources. It's analogous to going to the arcade and having hella quarters, right? We only got 50 cents. So our level, we got to win now, So that was the biggest thing was having the resources, and then having the time, to like fully go in on your business and without having like a quantifiable physical return on investment to show those who are supporting you, right? So that the hardest thing was always having the resources.
Yeah. And how did you all make decisions about like how to raise more capital, whether you're personally investing or, finding outside investors? Or I guess, did you keep it with just the three of you at the time in terms of investments, or did you reach out to outside investors?
No. We all started. Like I tell everybody, you got to be your number one investor. That's why the game's messed up now. Businesses are failing at an all-time high now because a lot of people just they walk away when the money runs out. Like you have to be your number one investor if you believe in your dream. So we are, we were and are our number one investor. After we invested in ourselves, we did bring on some friends and family money. Nothing crazy, but most of the businesses, like majority of the business is bootstrap. I think we brought on our first institutional investor sometime last year. So that was a nice change of pace and give us some additional resources. But ultimately, I never want to be in a room, and and feel like I'm working for somebody. I mean, I don't mind partnering with people. So yeah, I don't mind partnering, but I want to, so with that being said, we are the number one investor in our company.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, you've mentioned that you're still working for Oakland Fire Department, and everybody else, it sounds like, has also had another job. And I think that's important to talk about too, because sometimes we feel like if we're going to go chase our dreams, we got to go 100% in and cut off everything else. Other folks feel like it's important to have another source of income. Even for me, I teach full time at a community college and also run my own practice. So I appreciate that there are different ways to do it, and that you don't have to. It doesn't mean that you're not all in if your only thing is doing your entrepreneurship journey. And it sounds like, from what you've been saying, it has been immensely helpful to have another source of income so that you could build this business and get it to where you need it to go.
Yeah, I mean, so like, I mean, in regards to like having another. So first of all, like, my mom's my hero, right? And I saw my mom work. My mom held it down. 2 jobs, like she did whatever she had to do to make sure that we were successful, that we were going to be okay. So like when I hear this whole notion of, like people telling you how it's supposed to look, that comes from privilege. That comes from privilege. Everybody doesn't have the opportunity to just quit their job and go out and start something. It doesn't mean you're scared. It doesn't mean that, it just means that you need money in order to fund this dream, right? So like, people got to stay away from people who tell them, jump off a bridge and this and that. Like, there's no correlation. I haven't seen the research, and what I tell people is that, people, aspiring business people, is that you look at yourself as a business, right? So like, as a corporation, and you're just diversifying your portfolio. Like, you give some time to this and it pays you that. And then once something else gives you more money for the time you're investing in it, then it makes business sense to move on. So if you no one's telling Jay-Z just rap, right? No, no one's telling Elon Musk, to just do Tesla. So like this whole notion of like you can't have a boss or this and that, you can't have a job. That's just not solid. Eventually, you don't want to have an employer because you want your time to make more money than your job. Than your job is paying you. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So respect to all the hustlers out there holding it down. Like, matter of fact, I celebrate you even more. You're more brave if you're doing that.
Right. For sure. So Hustle Clean is not a different company, or is it really a different company from when it started out 10 years ago, right? 10 plus years ago. Is it running differently than it did in the beginning, or is it just a name change and it's essentially the same thing that you were doing, when we first met 10 plus years ago? Shout out to the Way Christian Center in Berkeley.
Way. Yeah. So easy to love. It has the same bones, right? Like it's the same essence, but it's the business model has changed. So we have more products, one, and then number two, we have like an omni-channel approach now. Like back then we were like strictly e-commerce. And now we're in mass retail, Walmart nationwide, Target nationwide, select Kohl's, like, Roadrunner Sports. We're in a lot of different like brick and mortar locations. And we've also expanded our e-commerce to, we're not just Amazon anymore. Like, we have our own direct to consumer platform too as well. So like the business model has changed. It's more robust, it's bigger. Just bigger business.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it started out with an idea, right? One problem to solve between, wanting to take a shower being optimal, but not necessarily having the opportunity to do it. Yeah. And now it has grown because you've put the time and the resources and the vision and stuck with it over the years. It's quite impressive. Kudos to you. I have in the old school version, the original, the classic throwback of, the shower pill, which
that might be like an NFT or something now. I don't know what they call it. Yeah.
Right. I should probably
mint that thing. Yeah.
Right. Frame it or something, as an ode. But I mean, even I haven't played sports in a long time, but when I travel, go to hot places, and sometimes you're just like, that's what I absolutely buy them for. I'm like, let me just, get a little refresh when I'm in some tropical climate and too hot, can't stand it anymore. So, all right. So as we wrap up, what's your number one piece of advice that you would have for a business owner that's just entering into this market, and specifically a Black or a brown business owner, because that's who our target audience is right here?
Yeah. First and foremost, you have to make a decision to be an entrepreneur. Like you can't straddle the fence. You got to hop off the porch, right? And what I say is that an entrepreneur, what they believe is that it is not a matter of if I will be successful. It's a matter of when. So that means that when failure comes, because failure will come, when failure comes, it doesn't deter you, because you know that you are who you are, and you're not in the game because you want to win. You're in the game because you're an entrepreneur. You have a desire to create economy. You have a desire to manifest ideals. You have a desire to change the world, and that's a calling. So if that's your calling, a L or a W doesn't make you want to go harder. It doesn't make you want to go home. So make the decision first. Are you an entrepreneur, or are you trying to get rich quick, or are you trying to get affirmed by society? Because entrepreneurs don't do it for the affirmation. That's number one. Number two is that there is always a way. Never shrink. There is always a way. And it's funny that a lot of people who fail in this business, they have these big, hairy, audacious goals in business, and they have so much creativity. But when it comes to the resource question, they become myopic, right? Like all of a sudden, all of a sudden everything's finite. Everything is, there's no more creativity, right? Like if I can't raise the money here, if I can't do that, if I can't get this, I have to go home. Like you need to be as creative with that idea you just did. Be creative with your resources and your funding, and be scrappy. Be a dog out here. Never quit. And I'm gonna add one more thing. Add one more thing. You have to protect your mind. I go to therapy once a week, straight up. You have to protect your mind, because this is an emotional game, right? Like you have really, really high highs, but your lows are deep, dark, right? So, and in one day you can experience every emotion as an entrepreneur, and then you have to go home to your loved ones and be normal, right? How was work? Good. Or be sitting on the couch and not thinking about everything and putting things together and working. Because you know how to work in your mind. You know how to work in your mind, you're an entrepreneur. You start writing emails in your mind, you know who to talk to, you're doing everything in your mind. So protect your mental at all costs, at all times. It's so important to be level, to understand how to process this stuff. I call it entrepreneurial trauma. All that trauma, you got to deal with it.
For sure. I mean, that is so important. That's what we're talking about this month in my business community, is just really getting that mental piece of it, because entrepreneurship, the thing, it's not ever about skill when people don't make it. It's usually about the mental game behind it and continuing to work in it long enough to get to the results that you want. And you're absolutely right about those high highs and those low lows, because it is a reflection of you. You're in this game because you are passionate about it. Like you said, you feel like it's a calling. So when something doesn't go your way, especially for people who are used to getting wins, right? You're like, from athletic training, that if you put the work in, you're going to get that W. It doesn't always work that way, or it's not always linear in that way in terms of entrepreneurship. So surrounding yourself with those people who can support you, hold you up, expand your mind. I always tell people, get some people who are where you are, but get a lot of people who are further ahead than you, because they have laid the path. You can follow the steps or see what steps you like and don't like and get to where you're trying to go. So thank you, Wale. So tell us one more time where they can find the Hustle Clean.
So Hustle Clean, you can find all Hustle Clean products in any Walmart near you. Target, hustleclean.com, amazon.com. That's where you can find us. You can go, you can Instagram, Facebook, Hustle Clean. And yeah, I mean, keep dreaming, keep fighting, and we're just here to, and one more thing, we're here to simply enable people to be more and do more without compromise, and in Hustle Clean, we always talk about, in my company, like, this is behind the walls, like, we talk about faith, fight, and freedom. So y'all gotta have faith. You gotta have faith in your mission. You gotta be willing to fight like a dog. You gotta be willing to fight to the death, because that is the way that you're gonna achieve freedom, whatever freedom may mean to you.
Yep. Amen. All right. We'll end it right there. Thank you so much, Wale.